Welcome, everybody. John Zegar. JohnZager.com. How's everybody doing? Good? Good. So, I've done a Facebook Live video, uploaded it everywhere. I've done a YouTube video, uploaded it everywhere. I'm now doing a Spreaker podcast, and I will upload this everywhere. It's been an active morning. It's rainy. It's spring. I guess it's officially spring. I don't know. When's summer start? 21st of June or something like that? But it's been raining. That's all it does is rain now. Not a lot. I mean, it rains for a couple hours, then it stops. Rains off and on, off and on, off and on, day and night. So, that's okay. So we're talking today about everything's going to be all right. We've been beaten up on the corrupt criminal system, legal system, police, sheriff, judges, attorneys. I mean, it's pretty conspicuous. And quite frankly, I'm pretty sick and tired of talking about the degradation that we go through with those people. What is it, defund the legal system? Don't fund the police, the sheriffs, don't fund any of them people. They're not out there for serving the people. They're not out there for our good. They're out there for corruption and to show that everybody's a criminal and how they can ruin lives. But today's topic has been consistently and all the way through, and I'll finish this podcast in the same way, is that everything's going to be all right. Neuroscience doesn't necessarily say that. Neuroscience basically says it's what you think is what you get. You know, you act a certain way because of programming. Your personality is what it is because of how you were brought up and what your program was. We're shortchanged from the jump. As soon as we say in our previous lives, we want to go to Earth, and we want to have a family that requires me to learn about feelings and thoughts and whatever. And you understand you're going to have some struggles and things of that nature. And you get down here, you don't get to pick your family out, so to speak. You get to pick the type of people your family will be. You don't pick who your family will be. And as a result, you get programmed accordingly. Now that sucks, basically. there's 8 billion people on the planet. Is that correct? 8 billion. And a huge amount of those people are living in lack and poverty around the world in third world countries and being subject to a lifestyle accordingly. That's not a pretty picture. That's not a pretty picture. But they don't begrudge it. Their job coming down into that family environment and country and impoverished is a challenge for them to get through. They're blessed. They're graced. They don't know the difference. They don't know that there's unblessed, unholy people living in America in mansions where everything they want is provided. Their goal, unlike the third world country people, their goal is to learn humility, which it's just so black and white. Look at the Bidens and the corruption and the crime and all that kind of stuff. They're not going to ever learn humility. Leastwise, we don't even see them trying to point their shoulders in the right direction. It's about them. Here's the middle group of people, right? Just talked about 2 categories of the 8 billion people. Everything's going to be all right, right? Yeah, if you learn what you're here for and you can apply it, everything's going to be all right. We don't have a problem with that. There's a third group that kind of sits in the middle. I don't know. When I think in terms of America, they're kind of the middle class people. Lower middle class people, I think, certainly have humility. And they have try. Upper middle class people probably have got a taste of the good life. Supposedly living in America is supposed to be the good life, right? And they're a little more prone to crime. I'm not so sure that everything's going to be all right with those people. They've got a bigger road to tackle than some of the other folks in the world. Here's what I think destroys people. They get a taste of something that they're not, and they want more. The terminology that's used for that is called narcissism. Narcissistic personality disorder, to be more specific. That's the group of people. I'm just trying to generalize this as big as I can. That's the group of people that had a taste somehow or saw betterment somehow and they wanted it at all cost. This is where religion goes out the door. This is where the concept of God goes out the door. This is why you chose to come down to earth with a purpose goes out the door. This is where corruption feeds from. Cops are notorious about corruption and feeding off of this concept. For some reason, when I used to test cops, do MMPIs on them, right, to see if they would qualify enough to be a cop, none of them could qualify. None of them. And the MMPI is not a pass-fail thing. It's a personality disorder test that basically just says, my personality is such and such. Okay? Well, fine and dandy. But it also should have some bearing on whether you can do the job the way we would like the job done, or you should not be suitable for the job. Follow me? So it's kind of a good indicator for a couple different things. It's an indicator if you live on the street and need to survive at any and all cost. And are willing to judge, in order to survive. Judge people. And when I tested people going into law enforcement, in my mind, it was either flunk or fail. And I eventually just quit doing it because nobody could pass it. Everybody was in the category of exaggerated egos with criminal thinking, narcissism, right? Sociopathic, and elements of psychopathic personality traits and disorders. And now you sort of have an inkling of how narcissism how neuroscience arrives at everything's not necessarily going to be all right. How the law of attraction arrives at you attract like kind. And then when I pose the question of, can you live a life where everything's going to be all right? And how would you answer that with your own personal life? And can you keep your ego out of that answer? The world has had 7 or 5, I forgot right now. It's either had 7 or 5 realignments where God, I use that word, you can use whatever word you want, where a greater intelligence, consciousness, has had to destroy mankind on Earth, the entire population, and start over because of sin and corruption and all the things I just talked about from the MMPI personality. And then you need to ask yourself again, is everything going to be all right? Does it balance itself out? How do you see yourself in the world, in your reality, in your personality? So I'd kind of like to encourage everybody today listening. I'd like to encourage you guys all to meditate on who are you and what are you made of and why are you here? What's your purpose? Are you humble? Are you narcissistic? Do you have socialistic tendencies in you? Can you pass an MMPI if it had a pass-fail? What would your personality look like? I saw a little deal on the internet a couple days ago. I don't know if I can remember it. I put it up on my page, and it basically said something to the effect of, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just don't live your life regretting them. And everything will be all right. Think about what I just said. That's very, very important. Very important. I gotta open the door for a minute because it's pretty warm out. I still have a hoodie on, and maybe I'll close the door and open the windows. Let me start up the truck for a minute. But I know it makes noise. Sorry, you guys. But this is real important. This is real important, you guys. And I think it's worth the takeaway. Because you know me, I'm kind of about the takeaway in all of these things I do. The takeaway here, based on what I just talked about, different categories of 8 billion people. Kind of like why we're in the predicament we're in. Why a greater intelligence has to eliminate the world completely in order to start over again. I think it's real okay. I think it's real okay to make mistakes. That's part of being human, right? That's part of how you were created. You're a spirit, actually, but you're going to make mistakes and you're going to sin. And what they're saying is, be human. Don't go out and try to make mistakes time and time again. That's not good. But if you make mistakes, don't regret it. You're only human. And everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. That's the direction I think we need to go. And I think that's the direction that's going to save mankind. The only example I can give that seems to fit into my takeaway in my little dissertation about 8 billion people is using the example of Elon Musk. Is he perfect? No. Does he make mistakes? Absolutely. He'll even tell you that, point blank. Does he regret? Does he hold regrets to his mistakes? No. And what's his outlook? Everything's going to be all right. We might end up living on Mars, but everything's going to be all right. Meditate tonight, you guys. Meditate this afternoon. God bless everybody. Take care of one another, and I look forward to talking to you all again real soon. Thanks a lot. See you. Bye.